George Floyd. A white officer in Minneapolis placing his knee on Floyd's neck before he lost consciousness and died. The peaceful protests in the Alamo City took a turn in the evening.
This cell phone video captures the final moments of Ahmaud Arbery's life while he was jogging through this Brunswick, Georgia neighborhood in February. Arbery was confronted by Gregory McMichael and his son Travis, who shot Arbery twice with a shotgun before the 25-year-old collapsed and died.
Governor of Kentucky wants federal and state investigators to look into a deadly police shooting 2 months after it happened. Louisville police shot and killed 26-year-old Breonna Taylor in her apartment during what her family calls a botched drug raid.
Well, hey everybody, it's Pastor Steve,
and I like
LTL Youth at Home. We want to welcome everyone that is watching online, whether it be through Facebook or YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in. We would love to see you guys and know where you're watching from, and just know who's watching, so you can start commenting on the comment section down below. Something that we would really love for you guys to do is to begin to share this video. If you're watching on YouTube, you can just copy the link and text it to somebody or post it on your social media. Or if you're watching on Facebook, begin to share this video because I am so excited of what we're about to talk about tonight. If you didn't get to see our post at LTL Youth, today we are starting a two-part conversation called The Conversation. And I just believe that right now more than ever, what we need in our nation is to have more conversations. My name is Joe Eric, and I'm the youth pastor here at LTL Youth, and tonight is a special night for me because I won't be speaking by myself. I believe that topic that we're going to be talking about, the events that we're going to be remembering and talking about, the different scenarios that we're going to talk about, I can't speak by myself. And so I just want you to know that if you're watching online, whether it be a student or a parent, I just want you to know that right now more than ever, we need to have these conversations. Here at LTL Youth and at Live the Life Church, if you didn't get to see the post from our pastors, from his stance, and not just his, but our staff here at Live the Life Church and our church's stance on what is happening, we want you to know very clear that we as Christians and believers are not people that should remain silent, are not a group of people, especially here at LTL Youth. We are not a generation that will remain silent, but we believe that silence is a part of the problem. So today we are taking the steps to be a part of the solution, and we understand fully. So if you want to blow it up on in the comment section below, we understand that a conversation isn't the solution, but we also understand that it's a start towards the solution. It's the right start. It's the right place to start moving towards the right direction. And that's why we are having a conversation, because too quickly, so many of us either are silent or speaking up too fast, and we're not sitting down long enough to come here on earth and just start dictating everybody and telling everybody what to do. But instead, the Bible says he came humbly. And he came in flesh and blood like us humans, and he didn't require us to go up to heaven, but he came down here on earth and met us where we are at. And instead of coming around and starting telling everybody what to do, he humbled himself enough to sit down with people that weren't like him, that didn't believe the things that he believed in, that didn't agree necessarily with him. And he still sat down and long enough to listen to them. And if we really look at it, Jesus only lived for 33 years on this earth. And still he sought it enough to believe that listening is more powerful than even speaking. And so that's what we're going to do here today. Because right now, more than ever, I believe our black community, our brothers and sisters need us as a Hispanic speaking And we have a broad range of diversity here on this stage that you'll see very quickly. But as a Hispanic speaking, my black brothers and sisters need me and our white brothers and sisters and our Hispanics and every other race to stop for a moment and listen to our black community, to put ourselves as best as we can in their shoes, because their lives matter. In fact, I want to go on to say that not all lives matter until black lives matter. We cannot say all lives matter when it is very clear that the black community in our world today, it is clearly across the board, it does not matter for a lot of people. And until we can say that black lives matter, then all lives will matter. But of course, yes, we're going to say all lives matter. But right now in this season, as a church, as the body of Christ, as Jesus followers, we're going to follow what Jesus and God does. And what he does, he walks and he gets near to we're going to draw near to one another. And we're going to do our best to listen. And so here with me on stage, that you're going to see very quickly, we have a variety of students and young leaders, a part of our LTL youth. So you guys can kind of just wave at a camera, find one, and just wave at everyone. You can say what's up on a mic. You can say what's up, Emmanuel. What's up, everybody? Emmanuel's with me. Jania's here with me on my right, probably your left, maybe for watching online. And we just have so many different people joining with us today, not just a race, and not just a certain age, but we have from middle school to high school, black, white, and Hispanic. And I believe that this could be the start, again, towards the right change. Being able to sit down one another, look each other in the eye, and talk, and empathize with one another. And that's why I'm so excited about what we're going to do here today, because what I love most about this, and they can probably tell you, and they can probably look at you on the screen, it's a little nervous up here. You know why? Because we're not behind a screen. We're not behind a phone, and we don't have filters up here. We don't have the ability to edit. We don't have the ability to put some GIFs or GIFs or however you guys say. I don't know which one. You know what I'm talking about. We don't have that time. That's a debate, right? We'll get to that's for another day. But we don't have that time up here to do that. And that's the beauty of what we need now more than ever, is to put down the phones, to sit down with one another and look at each other and say we love each other. We feel each other's pain. We're here to listen before we speak, humbling ourselves, praying for one another, and allowing each other to know what each other are feeling. And so right now, I just want to introduce everyone with you. I have Emmanuel here. What's up, Emmanuel? You doing all right?
Yes, sir.
We got Kiari over here to my left. You can wave Kiari at the camera. So everyone. We got James, one of our leaders here at Youth.
Hello.
We have Nevaeh.
Hi.
Hi. We have Janiyah here and her sister Jaylee. We got Nick. What's up, Nick? Good to see you, my man.
What's up?
We got Matt.
Hi.
And we got Anissa here.
Hello.
And what we're going to do again for the next few minutes that we have together is we're going to have a conversation. And we understand that we can't fully express all that we feel in the short time that we have together. But the point is that we want you to see, and if you're watching online, if you're a student, and if you're a parent, we want you to know that, one, the conversation matters. And I think we can all agree with that, right? That a conversation matters. That even for these students, and they'll vocalize it, maybe there's not a lot, and you're watching if you feel like you're too young, there's not a lot maybe that you feel like you can do, but you can have a conversation, and that's what we're doing. Two, we believe that the church should be the place that we feel comfortable enough to have the conversation. As the church, and let me just say, as LTL Church and LTL Youth, we will not shy away from this conversation. Yeah. We will not be intimidated from this conversation. Will it be difficult? Yeah. Will it be hard to hear sometimes? Absolutely. Does the truth hurt sometimes? Absolutely. But guess what? We will not shy away from it, because our world needs truth. And our God is a God of truth. And we need to speak that out. We need to be honest with one another. And we need to have these conversations in the church. And as the church, be the church to our black community, because their lives matter and because our world needs that right now. And so to start off this conversation, you guys doing good? You all right? I don't know who has the mic, so I'm gonna start off the conversation. And if you're watching, you can enjoy and just comment down below. But we're gonna have this conversation together, and you guys get an opportunity to listen in. But man, I just really want to open up with a broad question, and the question I really want to ask you guys, because again, I'm 25. I'll be 26 this coming up October, and I'm a millennial, and you know. All of you guys are Gen Z, and so y'all are the next generation that's coming up. And I believe your generation and your voice, and let me just kind of just encourage you with that your voice, and I'm speaking to you as well as every student that's watching on, your voice matters, and it can make a difference. And I just want to kind of hear us talk today, and I just want to know personally, like, how are you guys feeling? Just let's just open it up. How are you guys feeling based on the events the deaths of these innocent men, these innocent black men. How are you guys feeling? The riots that are happening, not just across the country, but literally in our backyard right now. There's a riot, not a riot, but there's a protest happening, but can very much turn into a riot downtown San Antonio. How do you guys feel? What are you guys thinking? What are you guys feeling? I'd love to just kind of hear from you guys, anyone that wants to talk, and kind of, whoever has a mic. I don't have a mic. But what are you guys feeling? What are you guys thinking? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really sad and upset about the whole situation because I don't think this should be happening to anybody.
For sure, I got you. Is this something that not to put a spotlight on you, but like, is this something that for yourself? Has it been hard to vocalize, or is it easier to kind of keep within yourself, or have you found
Me or anybody in my family.
Absolutely. Cool. Anyone else? How are you feeling? What's going on? Like, what's going on in your head? I know I have my feelings, but I'd love to hear from you guys. How are you feeling just based off of everything that's going on in our world today? What do you guys?
Like Nevaeh said earlier, I feel really powerless, like, especially at our age, and there's not really much we can do, Powerless would be one of the things that I do feel around what's going on.
Yeah, I got you. Nevaeh?
Okay, I'm glad that we have a platform. Like right now, we have a platform to say and to educate people. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I'm able to, talk to people about what's going on, and I love like talking to people that don't know what's going on. I love educating people. I love just spreading awareness is really like a great thing for me to do right now. That's just what I've been doing. That's how, and I feel like it's, like I did say, I felt powerless, and it's really hard at a young age to be able to, go out to protest and, donate like millions of dollars, because we can't really do that. The only thing that we're able to do right now is just educate people and just show them like what we're talking about when we talk about this.
Or be educated.
Yes, and be educated too.
And specifically, let me just say, I know, like, because Nevaeh and I clearly we're not black, and I think that's the most important thing that I felt, and I would just say that is just the awareness to be educated. Like, I that was one of the first feelings that I felt, is like, I can't believe I allow myself, and that's the question. My statement was not, I can't believe I didn't know this much. No, my question, I can't believe I allowed myself for all these years to not fully lean in and listen and fully educate myself. And that's immediately how I felt. And so, for sure, and I'm gonna ask you what I asked Jaylee, for both of y'all guys, and anyone else that wants to talk. Do you guys feel like you have a place, and not a platform so much on social media, but people to talk to you, or is this something that you've kind of kept within yourself? How have you guys kind of been, dealing with what you're feeling?
Well, me and my family are very like but just very, what is the word?
Like aware, or just maybe updated?
We're very updated and aware of this situation. We watch the news. We're always figuring out what's going on and just knowing what's going on. So I think that's a really important thing, to have like people that support what you support and have people by your side.
For sure, absolutely. What about you, Emmanuel?
Me being not the only, but I have a little brother that's just like me.
Yeah.
Black person in my family. It's not really talked about. I feel like it's really kept to myself. And like Anissa said earlier, it's the little jokes and like the little comments, or like, oh, I was just playing around. That's what really keeps people silent, especially I'm black. It's been real quiet. Like, it hasn't really been talked about, especially as a little kid, if like, man, do they really see me like this? Like, is that how I really am just because of my skin color? And it really keeps a lot of people quiet. So instead of peaceful protest, it turns into anger. It turns into riots, because they're tired of being quiet. They're tired of, just listening to the bad comments and the names and all that. So for me, I've been real quiet about it. And just letting things happen the way it is.
I got you. Cool. Anyone else? How are you guys feeling?
I think for me, because like in my family, on my Mexican side, I'm the only black one. Like the only one. And so it's like they make the jokes, and it's like they don't see me as what I am, because I am black. And I remember for a while, I was ashamed of it. I can admit I was ashamed of being black, because everything they said. So when people would ask me, like, what color? And I'm like, oh, I'm Hispanic. Like, I'm just a dark one. Because like, I know if I told them I was black, they'd be like, oh, like, you get a certain vibe. And I'm like, well, how are you supposed to act? They're like, well, you don't wear weave, you're not ghetto. And I'm like,
can I say something? Yeah, it's kind of like a stereotype built upon like black people. Like some people see them as like really bad people, and they're not bad. You know, there's really good people out there. Even in my school, like there's people that are trying to fit that stereotype, and there's people that are trying to break that stereotype. So it's just, you know,
is black because you don't act it. But I'm like, okay, but I am. When they say where they stand, and it's kind of like they say, I can admit they say horrible things, and I feel like I don't have the power to stand up. So I stay quiet. I let them say whatever they want, but like I guess they don't realize like it's hurting me. Like it hurts because when you say these jokes, like you're talking about my dad, you're talking about my aunt, you're talking about my cousins. Like you're not there to see the talk of when you get pulled over. You're not there to see the talk of when they're just walking home from school, like how to act if a cop pulls you over. Like I see that, like I act differently. And people are like, well, why you don't look black? I'm like, no, I do look black. I do, because like my hair is like curly or whatever. I was like, no, I look black. And so when I get pulled over, I'm super like calm, like I don't touch anything. I leave my hands on the steering wheel. And like you let them know, like, no, I'm reaching for my license and registration. I'm reaching for my phone because my registration is on there. So it's like you act 100% different way. And that's where it's like, that's not fair.
Wow, that's so good. You know, I want to ask another question, but I want to make sure that if anyone else wants to kind of just say anything, or yeah, Matt, you can for sure.
I think adding on to what Anissa said, how she's kind of not embarrassed, ashamed of being black. Sometimes I'm ashamed of being like labeled as white because, as you can tell, like this has to do with a white person like being racist and a hate crime. And like when people call me white, I take it like the wrong way. Like I don't want them thinking I'm racist too, you know. And I think that kind of ties in with what she was saying. And I just want to like show people that not all white people are racist, and we actually do love. Like we're human beings too, you know. Yeah. And like we can spread love, and we can make change too. We all need to come together and make change. I think that's a beautiful thing.
And actually, I heard like a really good quote on that, you know, because I dealt with a similar thing. Like I grew up, because my mom's Hispanic, you know, so I grew up like leaning so heavy on my mom is Hispanic, like making sure that was just said. But I think there was something that, I was listening to James Gordon, he's that game show host and everything, he was talking about it, and he was saying that he hadn't really talked yet, because he was like, well, who wants to hear my opinion? Like, there's so many other people that need to speak because they've been through it, who wants to hear my opinion? And then he said that he was thinking about it, and he was like, but that's the thing, is it's like, as a white person, or even just someone who has the complexity of being white, like if you look white, like you have the power to speak from that demographic then. It's like there's role, everybody has a role. You know, and it's like, and I'm able to fill my role that if I'm speaking out against it, like I'm standing in line with every other human being who's speaking out against, like, this is not okay. You know, we don't treat black people different. Like there's nothing that needs to be, kind of what Anissa was saying, it isn't a behavior trait, it's not a characteristic, you know, that's not, so like even for that, like one, I think it's Stephen Furtick said, it's not, like being guilty isn't a strategy. So it's like we feel the guilt, yes, but then you take that step forward, and whether it's on social media or even just friends and family. But
yeah, and I think what's so important, Matt, what you said, and again, I'm not black either, and I think what's so important, just speaking to you, is that all of you guys one day are gonna grow up. You know what I mean? And y'all are gonna be grown black men and women, grown Hispanics, and grown white men and women. And you have the opportunity today, you know what I mean, to be able to use your voice and speak out and say, this is wrong. I'm white, and as a white young man who will eventually become a white man, you know, grown man one day, I'm speaking now in my, you know, teen years that this is wrong, that racism is wrong, and I refuse to that, because again, just because we're having this conversation today doesn't mean it's like, okay, we're wrapping up, we're good, all right, peace out everybody, we're done, like we did our job. No, this is ongoing. And we're going to continue to have this conversation. I will say we'll continue to have it at youth. Whenever we come back, believe me, we will continue to have these conversations throughout the year. But I think it's so powerful to you and, you know, anyone that's watching that is not black. You know what I mean? I feel like that is so powerful to have, to hear a young man that's saying, I am white and I believe that this is wrong. Racism is wrong and Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? And I stand behind and stand with my black friends and family. You know what I mean? Like that right there is so powerful. And I think, again, because you're young, you will be turned into a white man one day. And there is stereotypic, what is the word? What am I saying? Stereotype over all races. That's why everyone's saying all lives matter. You know what I mean? It's true for everyone. But reality is, it's like, yeah, like our black community is hurting. And I think for you to say something, for me to say something, for Nevaeh and James to say something, you know what I mean? For us to say something and speak out, I think it's so powerful to our black community. And so, and kind of what you guys are talking about, I want to go to the next question. Y'all, we're talking about just even, yes, your home life, but even just kind of people around you, some of the friends that you have. And, you know, I guess the question I want to know from everyone is just this topic of racism. You know, it is very heavy right now. And I'm sad to say, and even on my own self, that it hasn't, and the sad part is that it hasn't been heavy any other day or any other time throughout history other than like these moments. Like it's horrible to say that it takes a man to be suffocated to death on the street, treated worse than a dog, for us to finally, you know what I mean? Finally sit down and listen and to hear and to apologize and to humble ourselves. And that's the question I want to ask for you guys as teenagers. Like, do you guys feel like it's difficult to have that conversation? And I don't want you guys to feel like, you know, and I don't want to bash any families. In fact, I believe it starts in the home. You know, I have a two-month-old daughter, and, you know, that's the first thing my wife and I said together. Like, it starts in the home. The moment she can talk, we will have the conversation about race. We will no longer leave it up to like, well, she just has, you know, black friends, and, you know, we just kind of grew up in it. We refuse to allow that anymore because that got us here. Now we need to have the conversation. I just kind of want to ask for you guys, do you feel like it's hard to have the conversation? Do you feel like it's hard for other people to have the conversation with you, to talk about it with you? You know, what do you feel about that as far as just having the conversation about race? And even now, since all this has happened, do you find it difficult to talk about it? I mean, you can even say right now, do you find it hard right now to talk about it? What do you guys feel, and what do you guys think? I'd love to kind of hear from, you know, anyone that would love to talk. You want to say something? Yeah.
No, I don't think it's not hard for me to talk about it because, you know, in my household, I was raised to speak my mind and, you know, tell people how I feel. Like, I feel like people of other, like, races, it's harder for them to, you know, talk to me about my problems, like being black. It's harder for them. Like, I have some Hispanic friends who, you know, say the N-word, and then when I ask them, like, not to say that, they'll say, you know, my black friends don't care, or my grandpa was black, or da-da-da-da. I mean, it still isn't right, but yeah. And I won't say anything, but I'll say, like, just don't say it next time because, you know, yeah. I forgot what I'm trying to,
Well, do you find, and you kind of said it, but do you find it helpful when people that, maybe your friends or even family members that aren't black, do you find it, like, encouraging? Does it help you whenever they do want to talk about it with you and not just, you know, your black family members or friends? Does it help? Like, even me, like, talking, like I said, hey, I'd love to talk with you about this. How does that make you feel?
I'm good. I feel okay. You know, I can open up to y'all.
Yeah. Okay, good. Awesome. That's great. Anyone else? How do you feel? Like, is it hard to talk about, or?
Yeah, well, and I feel like she brings up a good point. I feel like that's like one of those, it's usually you want to bring it up when you notice it. Like, you're not just, you typically don't just start a random conversation ordinarily, but you would call it out when you see it. And I think the biggest thing, especially like students that face it in school, is like, if you call it out, you're going to be responded to like why do you have to take it so seriously, or like it was just a joke, or like it's like not even just to the point of like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, but it's legitimately like why do you have to cause a problem? Like, that's the response. I think that's the reason why it gets so hard. Look, from my personal opinion, is the reason why it gets hard just watching it, is because it's like when you speak out, it's like, oh, I'm not racist. Like, you're fighting the wrong person. And it's like, but what are you spreading? Like, what are you speaking on?
Yeah, I got you. Anyone else, as far as, you know, having the conversation, you know, do you find it difficult, or?
I don't think it's really a difficult topic in this world. Like, Martin Luther King spent his whole life trying to stop what's going on now, and it's still happening. So what is him and all his speeches and everything, and we're still going through the same thing? What is one person or 10 people gonna do that nobody knows? You know what I mean? It's the fear of my voice is not gonna get heard if I speak up, or I'm gonna get criticized, or I'm gonna get looked at weird, or I'm gonna get made fun of. I feel like that's what keeps a lot of people quiet, and instead of them talking, they get mad. It's at a point where everybody's angry. They're no longer sad. They're no longer, you know, depressed or hurt. They're just mad. Like, enough is enough. You know what I mean?
I got you. Anyone else? Because I think. Oh yeah, Nevaeh.
I remember, like you said, Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King said, did he say rioting or violence? What did he say? Something is the voice of the unheard? Yeah, riots are the voice of the unheard. And I think, like, I want to know, what's y'all's opinion on the rioting? Like, what do y'all think about it? Do y'all agree with it? Do y'all disagree with it? Like, I'm really curious to know.
Yeah. What do you guys feel about it? I mean, anyone, yeah. What do you guys feel about it?
Sorry, that was loud. I feel like, cause I was sharing, like, reposting stuff on my Instagram, and then, like, I was receiving, like, comments, like, hate comments, and I was just like, and am I wrong for feeling like that's wrong? So I took it off because I started to second guess, and I really did, and I started to feel like, well, maybe, like, I'm not seeing the bigger picture, like, I need to take a step back and, like, look at it from a different point of view. Like, I'm just looking at it from my point of view, and I don't want to seem closed-minded,
Yeah, I love
you know?
that, yeah. No, I think that's good that what you said there. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And, I mean, I feel like the protests are great. Like, that's really good. We need to do that because, I mean, that's the only way we're going to be heard.
Yeah.
But the rioting and, like, spreading violence, I feel like that should be avoided.
Yeah.
It should and will be avoided if we want to make a big move in this country as a whole, you know?
I got you.
And that's my point of view.
Yeah, and just real quick, what you said is just, I think that's what's more important, and that's what I want people to understand, you know, is to be able to just, to look within ourselves and question ourselves and look at our motives and, you know, check our heart. And the Bible says that King David says that in a psalm. He says, Lord, check me. You know what I mean? Check me, like, check my heart. And to be able to look within yourself, like you said, Matt, and to be like, I need to stop looking from my perspective of everything and take a moment, you know, and start looking at what other people and their perspective, you know what I mean? Because to be quite honest, like, you know, your perspective is going to be a lot different than Janiyah and Jaylee's. You get what I'm saying? And that's the beauty is, can we do that? And that's what I want our audience to see, and what I want us to understand is, like, that's what we need. You know what I mean? I'm so passionate about that. Like to stop with this is how I feel. We live in such a broken culture to think that what we feel is what we have to say. And look at where that has gotten us to. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's our culture today. Is that I feel this way, and so I'm going to post it. And I don't care what anyone says, and who cares, and blah, 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 and you're irrelevant, this and that. And it's like, look at where that's gotten us to. You know what I mean? But to hear you say that, and I'm saying it the same thing, to be able to stop for a moment in this Instagram world and say, can I check myself for a moment? And can I just feel, you know what I mean? Can I stop for a moment and just text Emmanuel and be like, hey, I love you. Like, I need to look at my perspective. Like, that right there is what we need. You get what I'm saying? I know that has nothing to do with the big question, but like what you said there is so important, to be able to stop for a moment. And only God can touch the heart of some man and say, I need to change my perspective. So, man, I love that. I love how you said that.
It's funny that you said that, like, check up on someone, because, like, I actually did do that. Well, not with Emmanuel, but one of my other friends, they happens to be black. And I just texted them. I was like, hey, I know you might be feeling some type of way right now, and I just wanted to let you know that I love you, man. Like, and I'm here for you for anything. Yeah. And like that to him, I bet that meant a lot, you know. And I bet that brightened his day. And maybe, I don't know, give him some love.
Yeah, for sure. You made a difference. Anybody else on the riots or?
The way I see the rioting, like Tupac said, I don't remember exactly how he said it, but basically, you're outside and you're starving, like you're hungry. And you go in and ask this person, like, for food and stuff. And you're like, hey, like, can I, people coming in and leaving, going in and out with food. And every day you go and ask, and you're starving, you're hungry. Every day you go and you ask, please, like, can I have some food? No, we don't have no food. But you keep seeing people leaving in and out with food. Do you think the next time, after a week or 2 weeks, you're going to go in and ask for food again, politely, after you've seen people go in and out with food, and you know they're lying to you? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm starving, I'm not going to go after a week and beg again. I'm going to go and kicking doors in because I'm hungry. I'm hungry for a change. I'm hungry for justice. You know what I mean? And that's what people are seeing it now. They're no longer going to go in and beg for justice. They're no longer going to beg the police to treat treat us different. They're mad. They're starving. They're hungry for justice, and that's what they want.
That's a difficult place to be at. I mean, there was a quote that said is that can we be as passionate as we are against the results of the riots as we are, or in other words, we need to be as passionate as we are towards the result of rioting, cut that towards the cause of the riots. As humans, and again, checking our perspective, can we take a moment and be just as passionate about what caused the riot? Because it just didn't happen out of nowhere, and not one man dying started it. This has been happening for years, and it's people that absolutely have felt like their voice has been unheard. You know what I mean? That yes, Colin Kaepernick, for one example, kneels 4 years ago, career completely shot, and you can only imagine what everyone feels like. It's like we have knelt down. You know what I mean? We have done it politely. And I can only imagine. Again, I'm not black, but I'm just seeing that, trying to put myself in those shoes, and it's like I can't sit here and be like I get it, because I don't. But like, you have to sit there and be like, no, they're not. It's not like there's these people out there just crazy. Like, no, there is pain, there is hurting, and it's like I love how T.D. Jakes put it. He said like it's kind of like an abused child, right? Like, and an abuse. And he says he does therapy, and he says that a child that is abused is just as mad at the person that didn't speak up about it as they are against the person who did the abusing towards them. That someone that has been abused is just as mad at their mom or dad or aunt that didn't say anything once they told them what happened, just as mad at them as they are to the person that hurt them. And you got to imagine that for someone that's been abused for so long, a child that's been abused so long, at some point, there's these triggers that just touch at some point, like we all do. Someone just hits that red button and we just, right? We see it in our relationships. We see it in our families, right? You ever just pop off on your mom? You ever just pop off on your dad or on your sister? You just, and you're like, and they're like, what happened to you? It's like, I don't know, I just had a bad morning. And that was just a bad morning for you. Imagine living, the 15, 17, 20 years of your life oppressed and hurting and broken and just feeling demoralized and undervalued. You think you're going to pop off with just oh my God, I'm so mad. No, and so like, yeah, I mean, it's a difficult thing to see. I think it's definitely, I can't speak on behalf. And so I want to give you guys time. Anyone else kind of just, how do you feel towards it? Or anyone else want to say anything towards that? Or
I think even too, just because I like the metaphor that he gave, and it's like when you look at the riots and everything, and you look at the story, like was the main point of the story the way that he asked, or was the main point of the story the fact that he was starving and being kept away?
Because anyone can say like, well, he wasn't being nice when he asked me.
Yeah, but that's not the main thing. And I think for me, just like keeping up on the news and keeping up with Twitter, I think the most unfortunate thing is that it's almost like we can't pick something to focus on. So it's like you have the people that are heartbroken over the state of their city, which is fair. Yeah, people that are heartbroken over the state of seeing people of their own race getting beat down. Like for me, being white, it's scary seeing someone white, which is fair. But then there's just the kind of thing of like of course it's wrong, and of course we're not standing for that. But the main focus here is the movement that's like what the message is being spread, like Black Lives Matter. So it's like we don't like to see people getting hurt. We don't like to see buildings on fire. But like what we have to keep communicating is Black Lives Matter. We can console people that are going through it. Like for instance, like if I know Matt's going through this, we can talk. And I can be there for him. Yeah. But if I'm going to make a public statement, or if I'm going to talk to somebody who is black that might be dealing with something, I'm not going to bring that up to them.
Yes.
It gets very specific. We can go through it together. But the stance I'm taking publicly still has to be Black Lives Matter, because otherwise you flood the media with everything. Yeah. And then you don't really get the main message. Yeah,
and again, it just goes back to it's easier to say that these riots are bad, which they are. And I mean, it's tough. Like I wish, in other words, I think everyone's like, well, can't they do it the other way? And again, you just have to go back and be like, well, our black community has. But again, it's easier to say these riots are bad and look how much damage they're doing, than it is to say again, like it's easier to say that these riots are bad than it is to sit for a moment and try to understand why this is happening and why they're, why our black community is and honestly, it's not even just our black community, it's just people, that are fed up. And so I know we're running out of time, but I just want to kind of end with this and just kind of look you guys in the eyes and say, one, I just love you guys. I love every single one of you. I thank you so much for being bold. and courageous enough to sit up in these seats and, put the phones down and look at each other in the eyes and hear one another. I really hope that for a few minutes that we were able to kind of just stop and not just hear our own thoughts, but be able to hear the thoughts of everyone else. Because at the end of the day, I want you guys to understand, we are here for unity, right? Like, we are here for unity, but we do understand that there is a body, and the Bible does say that we are a body, right? That we aren't just one arm. No. Like, Nevaeh's a nose, right? Kiari's an ear. She's like, why am I an ear? No, okay, you can be something else, whatever you want, right? We are all a different part of God's ultimate body, and that's His church. But the Bible does say that when one part of the body hurts, the entire body hurts. You ever walk right? It had nothing to do with your legs, it has nothing to do with your thigh, but it's your toe, and it affects everything else. You know what I'm saying? You ever bite your nail too short? Some of you girls are like, no, but us guys, you know what I'm saying? You just peel that skin back just a little too much. Yeah, it hurts. Why? Because when one part of your body hurts, the community is hurting. In 1 Corinthians, that he says, I will become all things to all men, so that I might say some. What does he mean? He said, other than I will not sin, but everything outside of sin, I will do in order to help and to get near and to get close, the same way Jesus did to everyone around me, no matter what they look like. And I think as Christians, and speaking as someone that is not black, it is my job, and I'm praying that everyone else is watching that is not black understand. It is our job to apply that scripture Paul says, that we must become all things to our black community. Why? So that we might be able to get close and reach some of them. To be near them and hear their broken heart and hear their cry and understand and be educated in. Why? Because they need that. They need that. And so today as LTL Youth and Live the Life Church, again, we say Black Lives Matter, right? Yes, all lives matter every single day, but in this current climate, Black Lives Matter. And I just want to look at all of you students in the eyes and just say, I love you guys. And that we are not afraid to have these conversations. And yes, it's easier to judge on social media than it is to actually have these conversations. But guess what? Thank you guys so much for actually speaking up and having the conversation. Because everyone can comment. And everyone can point fingers. One that is different than them, right? That looks different than them, because they do. We do. We all look different. And be able to look each other in the eyes and take a moment to not speak, but for saying, and that's why we're doing a part 2, because I know that we didn't have enough time to continue to talk, but because this conversation is going to continue on. And I believe more in depth with each of you guys, but and anyone else that wants to meet each other, spread truth. And we need to listen, right? Listen to each other. Okay, I love you guys. I truly do. And I thank you guys for speaking up when it's not easy, when you feel like you don't have the right words to say. That is the beauty of a conversation, is to be able to speak and sometimes mess up, but still speak. Because you know what you can't get over the phone? You can't get the heart behind someone's text message, right? But you can get it when they're looking you in the eyes and you see tears start, balling up. That's the beauty of the conversation. And so I love you guys so much. I thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching online, thank you so much for tuning in. We will continue this conversation. So please stay with us at LTL Youth Online for more updates and videos and just even audio to listen to about these conversations. Because here at Live the Life Church, we will not shy away from this conversation. We will not shy away from educating ourselves, and we will not shy away from leaning into our black community, because they matter. And so us as a church, we stand with you. We love you and we see you. I thank you guys once again. Thank you so much for watching. Stay connected with us, but we love you guys. Have an incredible night. Stay safe, and we will see you guys, if not Sunday, back here on Wednesday night and at the Zoom call starting at 8 o'clock, which will be happening here in the next few minutes. So join us to continue this conversation. We love you guys. Peace out. Love y'all. Y'all can all wave. Bye. Love you guys so much. If this is still rolling, it's okay, but I think we're off. Cool?
Why are you still here?
I thought this was